They say fame can open doors, but it doesn't give you a permanent get-out-of-jail-free card. No matter how many fans you have or how many box office hits you've racked up, the law is still the law. And when it's broken, even by someone the world adores, the courtroom can be a very equalizing place. But here's the part that doesn't always make the headlines. Some of these celebrities, after hitting rock bottom in the legal system, turned their lives completely around. They went from courtrooms and mugshots to rebuilding careers, repairing reputations, and even using their experiences to help others. Today, we're looking at 5 famous faces who faced serious legal consequences, and more importantly, how they came out the other side stronger than before. Case 1. Robert Downey Jr. From prison to the pinnacle of Hollywood. If you only know Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, you might think he's always been Hollywood royalty. But back in the 1990s, his career was on life support because of repeated arrests for drug possession and probation violations. The trouble started in 1996 when police pulled him over for speeding and found heroin, cocaine, and an unloaded handgun in his car. That arrest triggered a string of legal battles, court-ordered rehabs, and jail time. One infamous incident saw him wander into a neighbor's house and fall asleep in their bed. And not exactly the kind of thing that screams leading man. Downey served multiple stints in county jail and even spent time in California's notoriously tough state prison system after violating probation. Judges who had once been lenient finally had enough, and his career seemed finished. Hollywood insurance companies wouldn't cover him on film sets, making him almost unemployable. But then came the comeback. Downey got clean, committed to staying that way, and slowly rebuilt trust in the industry. His big break came in the mid-2000s when director Jon Favreau fought for him to play Tony Stark in Iron Man, a role that would launch the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe and turn him into one of the highest-paid actors in the world. Today, Downey is not just a movie star. He's a symbol of redemption in Hollywood. He's been sober for decades, openly talks about his recovery, and supports organizations that help people overcome addiction. His legal past is still part of his story, but it's no longer the headline. Case 2. Martha Stewart. From federal prison to business icon. Again, Martha Stewart built an empire on style, precision, and the image of a perfect life. But in 2004, her brand took a major hit when she was convicted of conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and lying to federal investigators in connection with a stock sale involving the company ImClone. Here's the legal detail. Stewart was accused of selling her shares after getting a tip that the company's stock was about to drop, essentially insider trading. But prosecutors didn't actually convict her of insider trading itself. Instead, they nailed her on the cover-up, the false statements to investigators, and attempts to mislead. The sentence: 5 months in federal prison, followed by 5 months of home confinement. It was front-page news across the country. The woman who had shown America how to fold a napkin into a swan was now wearing a prison jumpsuit. But Stewart's response to her conviction became a case study in how to rebuild a public image. She served her sentence without complaint, returned to her company, and embraced her past. Instead of hiding from it, she joked about it in interviews, leaned into her resilience, and partnered with unexpected collaborators like Snoop Dogg, creating a hugely popular cooking show that played off their unlikely friendship. Today, Stewart's net worth is back in the hundreds of millions. She's proof that a legal setback doesn't have to be the end. If you face it, learn from it and come back with style. Case 3. Mike Tyson. From convicted felon to cultural icon. In the late 1980s, Mike Tyson was the most feared boxer in the world, the youngest heavyweight champion in history. But in 1992, his life changed dramatically when he was convicted of rape and sentenced to 6 years in prison, serving 3. The trial was a media circus. Tyson maintained his innocence, but the jury found the evidence convincing. The verdict shocked the sports world and left many wondering if he'd ever return to the ring. After prison, Tyson's career was turbulent. He regained the heavyweight title briefly, but also faced more legal trouble, financial collapse, and public criticism. His image as the baddest man on the planet seemed permanently tarnished. But here's where our Tyson story takes a surprising turn. In the 2000s and 2010s, he reinvented himself. Not as the unstoppable fighter, but as a human being willing to be vulnerable. He starred in the Hangover movies, launched a one-man Broadway show about his life, and became a successful cannabis entrepreneur. He's been open about his past mistakes, his struggles with addiction and anger, and his efforts to become a better person. Today, Tyson is not defined by his conviction. He's defined by his honesty about it and his transformation since. Case 4, Wesley Snipes. From tax convict to career revival. Wesley Snipes was one of the biggest action stars of the 1990s and early 2000s, with hits like Blade, White Men Can't Jump, and Demolition Man. But in 2008, his career came to a screeching halt when he was convicted of 3 misdemeanor counts for failing to file federal income tax returns for several years. The trial revealed that Snipes had been influenced by tax protester groups claiming he didn't legally owe federal taxes, a defense that failed in court. While he was acquitted of more serious felony charges, the misdemeanors still earned him a 3-year prison sentence. For many actors, that would have been the end. But Snipes served his time, stayed out of further trouble, and began working his way back into Hollywood. He returned to acting with roles in The Expendables 3, Dolomite Is My Name, and Coming to America. Today, Snipes is known not just for his film work, but for his professionalism and discipline on set. He's talked about using his prison time for self-reflection and personal growth. His legal chapter is part of his story, but it doesn't overshadow his legacy. Case 5, Lindsay Lohan. From tabloid train wreck to career comeback. In the early 2000s, Lindsay Lohan was on track to be one of Hollywood's biggest stars. She'd gone from The Parent Trap to Mean Girls in just a few years, showing both comedic and dramatic talent. But starting in 2007, her career was derailed by a series of DUI arrests, probation violations, and failed rehab stints. The legal system, particularly in Los Angeles, is often accused of going easy on celebrities. But even in that environment, Lohan's repeated violations led to multiple short jail sentences and a reputation as unreliable in Hollywood. Her legal problems were compounded by intense paparazzi scrutiny and a tabloid culture that seemed to root for her downfall. Every court appearance became a media event, every misstep front page news. But over the last decade, Lohan has worked hard to turn things around. She moved away from Hollywood's party scene, focused on her health, and started rebuilding her professional life. She starred in a Netflix romantic comedy, Falling for Christmas, in 2022, and has signed on for more projects. She's also spoken openly about her past and her desire to inspire others to make better choices. Today, Lohan is a reminder that no matter how bad the headlines get, it's never too late to rewrite your story. Why these stories matter. Each of these cases shows a few consistent truths about the legal system and life after conviction. The law doesn't vanish when the cameras are on. Whether it's tax law, criminal law, or probation rules, celebrity status doesn't erase legal obligations. The comeback is possible. Prison time, probation, and public shame don't have to be permanent labels. Owning the story matters. The celebrities who recovered best didn't hide from their past. They acknowledged it, learned from it, and moved forward. And perhaps most importantly, redemption is not just possible, it's powerful. Each of these stars has fans today who weren't even alive when their legal troubles happened, because they've built a new legacy that outshines the old mistakes. In the end, Robert Downey Jr. became Iron Man. Martha Stewart reclaimed her throne as a business icon. Mike Tyson turned himself into a cultural phenomenon. Wesley Snipes returned to the big screen with dignity, and Lindsay Lohan found her way back into the spotlight on her own terms. They proved that a conviction isn't the end. It can be the turning point. Thanks Thanks for joining us today. At Due Process Daily, throw us a like and consider subscribing to the channel to help us grow.